It's not what you're capable of. It's what you're willing to do. Everybody hear me?
Belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness.
But I know I'm not going to stop putting one foot in front of the other every single day. And I encourage you to do the same.
Will is a powerful thing. Ask yourself, what are you willing to do?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Culture Church Podcast. We hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and yeah, absolutely. And with me, as always, are my co-hosts Adam Holland and Denari Beard. So to kick it off, let me ask y'all, how was your Thanksgiving?
Hey man, definitely glad to be back, but I'm so happy Thanksgiving's over, bro. Cause y'all already know what I'm about to say. I ate so much food.
Oh my
and
God, here you go.
there's no doubt.
Tell them how much food you had.
I don't need to go there.
How many plates did you have?
We don't need to do that either. But like, seriously, like, I feel like I've gained so much weight in the span of 1 week. I feel horrible. So I've just been like all over the place. But no, in reality, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love being around my family, love being around my friends. It's just a great time, obviously just go around in a circle and be like, hey, we're grateful for this, we're grateful for that. So it's been beautiful. It's been really fun. And I'm glad that, this time, hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. How about you guys?
How about you, D-B?
Mine was quiet this year.
Okay.
It was just us four, just my mom, dad, and Titus,
Oh, that's
myself. Cool. So it was good. It was good. That was good to be just intimate, more Thanksgiving. Traditionally, we don't really do this small of a Thanksgiving ever. So
right.
I think it was a good change of pace for us, but it was definitely good. I just love being with my, those my guys. So so I love being with them anytime I can be with them. So it was great, honestly. So.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna bring up one thing from our last podcast. By the way, we had a Friendsgiving podcast last week. If y'all haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's awesome. We loved watching it ourselves even. But we went into a pretty deep dive about like our favorite meals and stuff. Yeah. And well, like the common denominator mostly was mac and cheese. Woo! And bro, what I haven't realized is half my family's like vegan now, bro, and stuff like that. So and bro, I walked in there, and don't get me wrong, my whole family love them to death. Great cooks. It was lovely to be with them. But there was no damn mac and cheese, bro. It broke my heart.
When you sent that, I was like, is that even Thanksgiving? Like, what do y'all eat?
All right, so we had.
Like, what did you eat?
What do y'all even do?
Okay, we had turkey.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Had the ham. But the thing that I actually liked a lot was my Aunt Ronnie made a eggplant lasagna.
Oh, okay.
Which like was
that.
actually it was really good. And like there was like 3 different types of stuffing for like who eats what and stuff like that. And honestly, I didn't know which one was which.
So you just
I was just like, I'll try them all. Yeah, I just tried them all. They were all pretty good. And yeah, and then besides that, just like the normal stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great to see the family. And as we kick off this episode, we like to go back to like having a theme as always. And this week it's confidence. So what I want to know for you guys is, what does confidence mean to you? And we'll kick it off with Adam.
I mean, confidence definitely is a kind of like multifaceted thing where people kind of have a lot of different variations of it, different versions, definitions, what it means to them. For me personally, I think it always means, you're able to challenge yourself, right? But as well as you're challenging yourself with a strong mental fortitude, like making sure that your mind, your mindset, your mentality, your mental health is strong and good, in a good place so that people, as well as yourself, you can be relied on. Somebody can be like, you're reliable. So, obviously people have a swagger to them. People have, some type of like clout to them that comes with the confidence. And I think that personally, for me, I'm being so sure of myself that it may just be able to be seen from an outside perspective or somebody outside not knowing what it is, where they're like, oh, he walks with a different type of pace, a different type of, beat of his own drum. And I think that confidence can be, definitely can be obviously contagious as well. Obviously, something can rub some people the wrong way. But in reality, I think it's just being so sure of yourself, so confident in what you've done before that, so sorry to confident, but, so sure of what you've done before that, there's no question about what happens whenever it comes away. So,
yeah.
How about you, DB?
And I honestly think the same, but this is a little bit different from Adam. It's just like just being more comfortable in your own skin, right? I mean, I think for all 3 of us, we all had to find our own ability to be comfortable in our own skin in some type of way in our different aspects of our life already in our 24, 25 years already. Yeah. So I think we already learned like how, especially as athletes growing up saw too is you got to be comfortable in your own skin, right? Good, bad, or ugly. So I think that's the first thing, and then it's just trusting your abilities. I think that's the second thing I go off of is you got to really believe in your abilities, the aspects you really put in all the work in. For athletes like us, I think we sometimes come in self-doubt if we're not getting the proper results we're looking for. But sometimes you just have to revert back to just believing into what your abilities are and what your training was to do. So.
Wow. That's a great point, man. And to piggyback off of what y'all said, like, I mean, you guys covered a huge portion of it, but it's just, the way I look at it is like the idea of like unapologetic authenticity. And that was a long word.
Yeah,
but that's a long
job,
word
man.
for me. But no, the whole idea of just like, you got to be you at the end of the day. I mean, we grew up in a time where like there's like a lot of comparison going on. We've talked about comparison is the thief of joy and stuff like that. And there's so many times where you've seen people try and fit into like being someone that they're not, just to appease like other people.
Right.
And that's just what I think is so important, is just being able to be yourself and be proud of who you are. Because everybody's unique in their own way. And if you look at yourself being unique as a bad thing, then you're never going to really truly be happy with who you are. You know? So you got to always be happy with who you are and take that uniqueness in a positive way, you know?
Right. And so to your point, I think part of that having confidence, or, you know, kind of like developing confidence over time, is having a positive mindset. You know, you got to have, like, you got to see yourself before anybody else sees it before you, right? When you wake up in the morning, you walk in the mirror, first person you're going to see is yourself. Nobody else is going to see you. So, like, being able to have that positive mentality, positive mindset, positive affirmations to yourself, like, that's going to start your confidence before you even leave the door, before you even leave the house. So I think that's just a really, you know, hopefully, you know, people out there can really develop that early on and not wait till later. But obviously some people happen at different points in times. But.
You know, just going on the topic of just thinking of a positive mindset and stuff, like, do you guys think confidence is initiated, or is it learned, or is it a combination of both? And I want to ask my question first to Adam, because Adam had the positive mindset. So I really want to see what Adam thinks first.
I really can't say I don't think anybody's born with it per se, but I definitely think everybody has the capability to develop it over time. Now, I think once you develop it, it's up to you to inherit it and make it a trait or, you know, kind of like a hindrance. So either or. So, like, obviously growing up, you know, you're going to go through different walks of life, meet different people, different circumstances, different experiences, failure, success, rejection, whatever it may be. But being able to bring that confidence every step of the way, bring that confidence every stage of your life, now it becomes a personality trait. I think a lot of people that would meet me would say, oh, Adam, you're a confident individual. And I would say rightfully so. At the same time, I wasn't always like that. Right. I definitely was not always like that. And I think that for some people, they can either wear it on themselves like a shield or like a badge of honor, or obviously some people might be a little more timid and a little more, you know, shy. Right. So it's up to you.
Adam, I do think that Adam is one of the persons who I think he's the main person for me who's externally confident.
Oh,
so I
my
think
goodness.
no, but I don't think that's a bad thing. No, I think it's actually, like Adam said earlier in the podcast, it's something that's contagious, right? So like Adam's like confidence really brought over to me too. Like, it's in high school, growing up in high school, just how confident he was, just, you know, going up in school, athletics, everything, you know, other stuff, like, you know, like all this stuff. But like his confidence really is contagious, and like you could feel his energy and his presence when he's all around us all the time. You could feel whatever we're going through, whatever situation we're going through. Like I said, good, bad, or ugly. Adam's confidence is going to be 100. Like, it don't matter what it is. So like that is something I do realize. Adam's confidence externally, even when you think he's doing bad, his confidence still going to show well. So
I want to add one more point on that before you go shoots and DP. But I think one thing that, I really appreciate those words, because, you know, it's always great to hear, you know, your friends and obviously your brothers talk about you in like a positive manner in reality. So I definitely do appreciate that. But I really enjoy empowering people. You know, I feel like I've been blessed to live a life with a family and friends and a good, you know, foundation that they've been able to empower me, instill in me some, you know, great values, core values, beliefs, obviously my faith. So like when I empower somebody, like I feel like that also boosts my own confidence. You know, it's like a give and go thing. Like, well, I want you to do so well, and then when you do well like that, I feel like I did well. Right. So I think that a lot of times my external, you know, confidence kind of just like exudes out of me sometimes, because I'm just so joyous for the moment, for somebody else to do well, for somebody else to, you know, have that feel, come out and walk around like, man, I'm that guy. So it definitely like brings joy to my heart when I see people who have confidence, as well as, you know, I can be able to kind of empower and kind of give off some of mine real quick. Like, hey, like, you're good. You know what you're doing. You're here for a reason. So like, I think that's a big part of it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it kind of shows how it like translates into like sports as well.
Yeah.
We've talked about like leaders and stuff like that, being on teams, exuding that confidence. And when your leaders have confidence, you have confidence.
Trickles down,
It's the
man.
same way.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, and I wanted to go back to your question. It really is interesting to like kind of see how certain people can gain confidence at different walks of life. I mean, I don't think it's like inherited straight off of like from like your
Birth.
like parents and
Yeah,
stuff
right.
like that. I feel like people learn it, but people learn it at different times.
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like when I was in high school or and much younger, I was always very, very self-conscious about every little thing, and it like. Gaining confidence later in my life, I look back on that and I'm like, wow, it's like it's such a difference in your day-to-day life and your perspective of life. And I think that's really interesting. So obviously, like it might have to do with like how fast you grow, like how many insecurities you have as a kid,
Absolutely.
stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
But it definitely is something that can be learned. And that's what's that's what's most important when us coming to talk about this is because like someone watching this may not be confident now,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that they're not going to be confident the rest of their life in who they are.
100%.
Absolutely.
You know what I
And then Adam said a good point of empowering people, right? I think all three of us are coaches. So I think
Yeah.
all three of
Yeah.
us have an effect of empowering people and instilling confidence into young adults every day. So all the time. So I think that is something very important that all three of us really do really well because if like Adam said, like you got to have that faith in the other person, right? Because sometimes the faith doesn't feel good for them.
Yeah.
They need someone who can trust in them. They can trust in them.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
So that is that goes a long way than anything else
True,
too.
for sure.
Especially for like as we can see as kids these days come out of post-COVID area, like we see that a lot of these kids need a little bit more attention just because they might not have the right attention during COVID or they might not have the right interactions during COVID as well too. So that is something, you know, like we see every day is just how do we keep empowering, especially our young adults, especially like the youth that we're trying to raise up as well too. So this is what our platform is really about. So I think this is beautiful that you guys are all saying all the right stuff about empowering and we're all learning as well too. So
And that's a good part because it's funny you guys brought it up about in high school. So up until I would say probably up until about my senior year of high school, I was very self-conscious about public speaking. And obviously a lot of you guys wouldn't really think that because I talk a lot and I love, you know, once I talk to somebody, you know, whatever happens, I'll run all day. But in reality, in middle school, elementary school, I had a gap in my teeth. I had a lisp, so I was very scared about like opening up my mouth, literally just like, hey, smile, like no, like any pictures I have of you when I was a kid, my mouth was closed. I'm like turned to the side. I'm kind of like public speaking, reading in front of the class. I hated it. I did not like it. I could do it. I did it very well when I did it, but like I was kind of like I had a little bit of like fear, a little bit of like I'm kind of scared, I'm a little nervous, I'm hesitant about it, and it really wasn't until about let's say my senior year of high school where I kind of broke that shell, gained that confidence. Obviously, after I had braces, you know, spent thousands of dollars for that. So thank you, mom and dad, for that. Appreciate y'all for giving me that because I had some jacked up teeth. But in reality, like it kind of made me like, oh, like you wouldn't even know now. I tell people now, like, yeah, I have a lisp, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, like you wouldn't even know because like I've really kind of been trying to like hone on it, but I've been, you know, accepting it. I've been kind of using it to like fuel me to like be better, you know, speak slower, you know, speak more elegantly. So definitely stuff like that you can gain over time over anything. Something simple as that. Now it's like I talk every day and I'm doing it for, you know, for fun. Obviously I'm doing it for other reasons, but you know, I definitely, sometimes you can kind of like, you know, take away those little negatives that you have that kind of like bring self-doubt and then use them to kind of just push you forward.
So I want to slide it over to DB now and ask you a question that we'll go around. So where do you think like your confidence, not only as a coach but as a man, even like when you back when you played football as a football player, like where did that come from for you?
I think the main thing is my family. I think it's my parents. You guys know my parents are two prideful people. So it's really contagious for me. So I really been like growing up into like this self-confidence already at a very young age because of how I was raised and how I was brought up. But it was just also like for me as a football player, you got to learn how to be the ability to take risks, right? So I think it's everyone understands like you get chewed out, or everybody gets chewed out for your coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's how do you respond to that, right? I think that's the misconception a lot of people do. Like, the coaches really want to see how do you respond after that too. So they want to see, do you still instill that confidence even if you're getting criticism, or do you shy away from the confidence when you're getting criticism? So that's something that I learned as a player. Now that I'm transitioning now into a coach, that plays more effect to it. So like, just the ability to take risks. Like, you're going to make a mistake. Then transition over to work now. You're going to make mistakes. Your boss is going. Same thing. Your boss going to chew you out. Right? But you got to understand, like, it's not because it's this. What are you going to do after that, though? Like, and that's the biggest thing is what confidence do you really have to take the same precautions and do it again, and it makes you do it right the next time, bro. So that's that's where I really gain it from. And then like, it's just everything's a learning experience. Like, it's just a big learning experience. You know, like, football's like all of our sports, we know it's life lessons, also this soft talk lessons as well too. So everything's a learning experience for us too. So that's something I think we're continuing to learn, that even when we get learning experience, we got to still learn how to have that balance of being confident and also being able to adjust as well too.
It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you respond to it.
Absolutely.
Yep. How about you, brother?
Y'all sounded like a quote on a 15-year-old's bedroom with that right there. Like, but nah, in reality,
hot though. That joke was hot.
Nah, it was.
That joke hot. Yeah.
I would.
Clip that.
I would definitely say, obviously, sports has been a big, one of the biggest identities we've had as us three right here. And like I said, we learn a lot in sports. You learn a lot from the ups and downs, from what not to do, what to do, what works, what doesn't work. But for me, it started at home. I told you guys last week, and probably before, I'm the youngest of 7. So, I've had 6 people in front of me kind of show me the way, show me right and wrong, as well as my parents, obviously being every step of the way, guiding me, but showing me kind of how you need to go about your business, how you need to approach certain tasks, right, and how you need to treat people. Obviously, learning that from just that family that I have, which is a blessing. They kind of really instilled that in me at a young age. Like, yo, you're the youngest, so we're gonna 1, beat you up. Like, 2, we're gonna 2, we're gonna take your food. We're gonna do those. We're gonna do all these things that you can't really fight back.
That is real though.
But in reality, at that point, it made me realize if I don't want them to take my food or wear my clothes or whatever it is, I gotta have some type of self dignity, some type of courage and the confidence to be no, it's not gonna happen. Right. It's not gonna happen. So it started at a very young age, right there, unknowingly, self-consciously. And then once I got to a certain age, my parents, I'll never forget, my mom always would tell me before any game, any test, any type of event I had to go to where I had to try to compete or something like that, pray before you play. Pray before you play. I mean, if I ever get a tattoo, I'll probably get a tattoo of that somewhere on my body, pray before you play, because every time I would go out there on a ball field, basketball court, baseball field, football field, soccer, whatever it is, about to take a test, I always say a quick little prayer, kind of just, allow the Lord to kind of just put his hands over me and protect me real quick. And I feel like that shield that I had, that cloak that I had, that jacket that I had was all I needed to be confident. And I knew once from that point on, I was good to go. I knew whatever came at me, I was good. I could take care of it. I could handle it. Didn't faze me at all. And I think paired with that was that I know what I've done so far has got me to this point. Why would I change it? I know.
Say that again. Yeah, say that again for the people.
I don't know if I can say it in the exact same order.
That was hot.
But I know what I've done to this point has got me this far, so why would I change it? You know what I'm saying? I know that every day I wake up and do my routine, it's got me this far. Right. Somebody just asked me the other day, that's funny, they're like, what do you do for skincare routine? I wake up every day and put warm water and soap in my face. And in reality, this is my first pimple right here in 6 months. Why would I change it? Why would I change it? You know what I'm saying? But in reality, it's that confident, bro. If it's not, you know what I'm saying, bro? And for real, no, hear me out.
We're out here talking about pimples, bro.
Hear me out.
He's working back.
I know.
I'm gonna tie it on. But in reality, I'm able to walk outside every day and see different people and know that my skin looks good. I'm confident about that because of all the preparation and the work that I've done prior. Yeah. So why would I change it, right? So that's the thing that I think about life. Whether it's sports, whether it's school, work, whatever. Why would I change something if I know it's got me this far and the results have showed for it? So that's how I think where my confidence kind of stemmed from. And might be a little different from y'all's, but hey, it worked for me. And I don't plan on changing anytime soon.
I mean, absolutely. It's you see, it's kind of the thing that we talk about, brick by brick, brick by brick. It's just being consistent each day is going to get you a lot farther than if you try and like do so much in such a short period of time and then exhaust yourself and then not be able to do something for a longer period of time as well.
Facts.
Like you just got to stay consistent, and that ties in just to like your confidence is just being able to do what you set out to do day in and day out. And I think it was like coming back to me, like the biggest thing that I like to understand in this day-to-day life is knowing your worth. And to be honest with you guys, I didn't know my worth for a long time. I was very self-conscious for a long time, and I was really worried a lot about if people liked me, and all throughout elementary school, even into high school and stuff like that. And it translated over to baseball, where I worried too much about if I was pleasing coaches, if I was pleasing people and stuff like that. And it finally kind of hit me into like my early 20s to where I was like, you got to realize who you are, and you got to own that and be able to be confident in who you are based on who likes you and who doesn't, right? Because you're never going to please everybody. It's impossible to. So that's the biggest thing. And our worth, like in our own eyes, can fluctuate. We can, and something that I've tried to do over the years to stay consistent with that is journal. I love journaling, and the journaling is basically, for me, getting all thoughts, maybe positive, maybe negative, out, so that they're out there, and you don't have to keep sitting on them day in and day out. Like, why would I think about something that happened 2 days ago? Like, it don't matter anymore, you know. But that's just coming from me. But I do support it and think everybody should just jot down your ideas, anything positive that you're thinking about, anything negative that you're thinking about, because you never know you never know how writing positive things about yourself, things you've done better today, things you've learned from, things that you could do better, but it doesn't have to be a negative. Jotting down those things that can get you better each day, and like giving yourself positive affirmations day in and day out, it builds up, just like we said, brick by brick.
Right. And I think one of the most beautiful things I've been able to witness firsthand up close is honestly your transformation from 2013 Chooch to 2023 Chooch. In reality, I mean, you guys would never be able to tell what this kid was like 10 years ago.
Pictures will be shown soon.
Yo, you have no idea what he was like. But in reality, more on a serious
pictures will be shown
on
soon.
a serious note, man, this kid second guessed everything. Was questioning everything about himself, about his talent, capabilities, whatever it may be. He was the most head case space cadet. I mean, mental midget, even though he's 6'5", like he just could not. He could, you know. And I'm growing him. I'm growing him right now. I'm coming at him right now. But in reality, like yo, like, but yo, to see where he is now, like this man walks with a purpose. He walks with a drive, with a passion, with a focus. And bro, it's admirable, bro. I tell you this all the time, like. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow and mature and learn and just who you are now, how you are around people. And same with you, DB. But, you know, obviously watching from a baseball standpoint, I got to see him a little bit closer than I did from you. But, you know, it's just been great to develop this confidence about you, this self-worth about yourself. And I know you were saying, obviously, about how in elementary school, high school, we were also, you know, had all this self-fear and all this doubt and all this negativity about ourselves. But the fact now that we're able to do this in front of people, you know, record in front of people, tell people our vulnerabilities, our negative experiences. Like, that's confidence right there. You're confident in our own abilities and ourselves, in our friendship and our brotherhood, that we're allowed to, you know, do this with one another. And I think that's one of the best parts about this podcast.
Yeah, bro. And like, that's what you're hitting on the head, because that's the whole point of this thing. Is like the fact that we're confident in ourselves. I could tell you my most embarrassing story. I'm not gonna walk out here thinking any different.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter anymore. You know, like you should always be like you said, comfortable in your own skin. You are who you are. You can't change the past. Just be excited for the future, because if you work hard, you're going to be able to attain just about everything you want.
You're right.
You know?
Exactly. And just to piggyback on both you guys, it's just we have seen each other grow so much, and just externally and internally we just see each other grow. Like just piggyback on Adam, this on Chooch. Like Chooch has grown, because Chooch has grown the most like, in front of our eyes. Like you really have. Like I don't think people realize like the evolution of Chooch, right? Like it was freshman year mini football.
Yeah, your name was Brendan. Your name was Brendan back then.
Actually,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, his name was Brendan, and he played wide receiver for the football team. And
No. I sat on the bench.
I
I sat on the bench
But
for the
yeah, but
football
still,
team.
So, but like, no, it's great to see you though. But like, more importantly, to see you grow in your faith with Adam was really the most exciting part for me to see, because you really reached out and really tapped into Adam, one of our faithful friends. Adam's one of our faithful friends, spiritual wise and everything. So I think you tapping into Adam because knowing you needed that spiritual relationship that you were missing, and you reaching out to Adam was really, really something honorable. And a lot of people don't seek help for that, dude. So that's really big. Like, I don't think you really understand. That's really powerful for you to do that and for you to reach out to seek help for Adam, seek help for the Lord too. So, I know.
Right.
Seriously,
It's the Choop soapbox tonight.
Yeah. But getting off of Chooch now. But like, since we already talked about Chooch a little bit, we can share about his moments, how he felt, like about his self doubts and everything.
Yeah.
Adam, is there any other moments, as you know, as an athlete, as just an individual, is there any moments where you expressed self doubt, but you appeared confident externally though?
I would honestly say my entire first year of Penn Charter, it was a blessing that Penn Charter found me, and I was able to attend that school because obviously it changed my life for the better. But when I tell you, I went to school every day genuinely scared for like what to expect. We had I can go from month to month. I can tell you every single like fear that I had my freshman year. Started with that swim test for sure, but like in reality, I'm not even like, I went home. My mom's gonna watch this episode and she's gonna start laughing because she knows it's true. I came home every day from swim class and I cried. I cried every day. I was genuinely terrified I wasn't gonna pass. I could swim, I could tread water, but like I was so scared, like, I'm not gonna pass swimming, and I never showed it because at the time I did swimming basketball season right on the corner. So I was like, I'm gonna just keep a strong face, but like I was dreading going to school. I got my first C+ in Penn Charter, and I was like, I'm not good at school. Like, so now I'm out here doubting everything about myself. Like, I'm doubting my academics, which I always was great at. I'm like doubting my athletic ability. Like, I can't swim, so I cannot play basketball. I'm like, what's going on with me? But like, that was really probably one of the like toughest years, obviously, but a year that I definitely needed. Obviously, as a 14-year-old kid, you go through maturation in multiple ways. So like that was one of them that I needed. And I would honestly say that. So that part as a whole, that year was definitely like a year of kind of just growing and definitely like gaining confidence, obviously, as well as, having a lot of self-doubt and working through it and not really telling anybody about it. And then the other time, I would say last year, actually 2 years ago now, I had the privilege of working at CBS in Philadelphia, and it was unbelievable. I worked as a news intern. Shout out to my news intern group. Yeah, we were really lit out there. I love that group. But all these people were going around a circle in the group, and two girls were like, "Oh yeah, we worked for Temple University. We work on the desk. We do the newscast." Right. And I'm like, "Dang, I didn't do that." Okay. Next person like, "Yeah, like I'm the head producer at Temple University, whatever." I'm like, "Dang, I never did that." Another guy's like, "Yeah, like I studied abroad, and now I'm here, and I worked under NBC." And I'm like, I didn't do none of that. So I'm like, what did I get myself into? Like, I am like, I did 4 months at Delaware State on a little bit of news stuff, and I'm like, all right, I'm stressing. Like, I'm stressing. I was scared. I told y'all in the chat, like, I really need y'all to pray for me because like, I knew I was really excited about it, but I knew there was a lot I didn't know, and that was kind of what worried me because I always felt that I am proficient in everything. I always feel like I try to keep my hands in every single basket, try to be as versatile as possible in case I get thrown at anything. I'm like, okay, I can handle it real quick. But Yuki Washington came in the first day, and Yuki and Don Bell were two of my biggest mentors there at the radio show. And Yuki came into the room, and he was like asking everybody their names, what their aspirations was. And I was real with him. I was like, yo, man, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm kind of nervous, but like I'm really excited to be here. I'm ready to learn. And he said, walk into every room like you belong, even if you don't. And I feel as though that kind of obviously is very basic, but it hit me so hard. And I'm like, wow, like, yeah, like I need to continue to do that. Even in places where I don't feel comfortable at, where I don't feel like I'm the most, whether it's successful or, academically smart person in the room, I need to act like I belong in every single room. And from that moment on, it really kind of just like turned up my mentality a little bit, like, yo, like I belong here. Like I wouldn't have got selected if they didn't think I could be here. And ended up being one of the greatest experiences of my life that summer. So those are two moments I can really kind of just pinpoint at that definitely at 14 and at 23, different times in my life, but kind of the same effect on me, but definitely made me realize like, hey, I need to change some things up, and I kind of need to, make sure that I attack things head on and not be so afraid.
I'm glad you brought up that point about knowing that you belong. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, like going back to our question, I've spent probably 75% of my baseball career probably not being as confident as I should have been, or confident at all.
Right.
Now, like, you know this. What emotion could you see perfectly easily in high school when I was good?
Oh boy, you was you was bull, bro.
I was angry, dog. I was angry.
I'm like, yo, you good? He like, nah. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
bro.
bro.
Calm
Like,
down, bro.
and the thing was, that emotion is what I had to bring out to blind myself from any doubt. Like what? Because when you're angry, you're not thinking about nothing. You're just like, I'm going at it. Yeah. And the thing was like, you can't force that.
Yeah.
So I could force it and get there for pitching once a week. But what happens when you go to college, you play 4 times a week, and then pro ball and you play 6 times a week. You can't just force yourself to be angry time and time again.
Right.
Like, because that's not who I am. Y'all know me. Like, it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, dog, I'm not that type of guy. And that was what I realized, is that I need to learn how to be confident, not from forcing myself into emotion or forcing myself into someone that I'm not. Right. So all throughout my life, like, people would tell me, you need to throw more strikes, you need to throw more strikes. And like, instead of trying to like focus on that and focus on how I can improve those, I just tried to focus on what made me good, being angry. And I would just try and force that over and over. And it finally came to this past year, where I was consistently like angry, dialed in, like dog. I was a dog, but it was because of the fact that I let go of that idea that I need to create emotion, and I just need to treat it like it's another day. Yeah, like it's just right. You got it. But because at the end of the day, you need to be a consistent person every time out there. You need to be a consistent person every Sunday you show up to go out on that NFL field. I got to be that guy every day. And I can't be trying to force myself into someone I'm not, because I won't be that same guy every day.
No way.
And I needed to learn how to be confident in myself with who I am, with who I can bring out there every day. And that was something that I fortunately was able to learn. But yeah, that's why I was so glad you touched on that. And I'm going to slide it to you now.
I think the biggest thing for me is, obviously, as you guys can see, is the scar on my face. I think that's the biggest thing. I had to navigate and face moments of self-doubt, because growing up, I had this scar on my face since I was 6 years old. So growing up, I've been called every name in the book with this scar on my face. So like, it was really trying to navigate, how do I get called all these names, but how do I still appear as confident to everybody externally? So those were sometimes some very low moments for me, because it was just hard for me to, especially at a young age, to really navigate, how do I get these people to understand, like, I'm not some scary dude just because I have a cut on my face. Like, I'm just a regular
You're
kid.
a little scary. I can't lie. You're a little scary.
It's just like chill, bro. Like, that's not what the whole point was, like, at all. Like, that's so, like, it's just something like that. Like, me just learning how to really navigate with my scar, with my imperfections of, like, me having this scar. And, like, I get asked questions every day. Every day, how did I get the scar, right? So like, it's just all about, everyone thinks I got into some serious knife fights and all this different stuff too. Like, I was 6. Like I said, I was 6. So like, but like, those are the stories I get every time. I have these situations. So like, those are something I know that was something hard for me to navigate, and I really didn't know how to really navigate it until maybe my junior year in high school. And then we went back to what I said earlier, is just me really finally realizing, like, me being comfortable in my own skin, right? Like, I don't care what anybody says about me. Like, I know I look good. I'm good. I don't worry about that. Like, and I'm gonna do what I do. Like, exactly. The show still go on, right? So like, there's nothing wrong with me just because I have a cut on my face, right? So like, I think that is something I really had to deal with in my younger ages. And now that I really got into my junior year of high school to really navigate my, like, this is a part of my life. Like, this scar on my face is a part of me. Like, this is part of my story. So it's just something I had to learn to embrace and started having more confidence into it now.
So let me ask you, like, you were talking about how, like, going into junior year, like, you really started to become like comfortable in your own skin. Was there something that like initiated that, or was it like you kind of took charge?
It was my dad. Me and my dad had like a talk, actually, coming home from football practice one day, and I just wasn't confident in myself as a person and then more as a football player as well too. So, you know, my dad, like, and he just like, and during our car ride, because we have a very long car ride. As me and Adam, Jersey boys, we had like an hour ride car ride. So me and my dad talked a lot. So, you know, I talked to my dad about like, you know, why do people make fun of me because of this cut on my face, right? And like, I don't understand why people look at me differently because I have this cut on my face. And you know, he told me, he's like, sometimes, dude, it's just, you got to think about you. Like, don't worry about what that outside noise, right? That outside noise means nothing to you, right? He says, when you have your people, like your parents and your friends that have you in the background and care about you as a person itself, that goes a long way than anything else. So like, you need to stop worrying about that outside noise because those people don't have effect on you. And sometimes the biggest thing that I really learned at that young age, when people start throwing imperfections on you, that's because they have their own imperfections.
Right.
So like, that's something I really learned.
Say that again.
Yeah, but that's what I really learned at a young age, though. Like, people start throwing their imperfections back on me just because they cut on my face. So like, that's something I really learned.
And I think I'm glad you shared that because we always, like I said, we always have our own imperfections that maybe we understand or we see, and obviously other people can see, and it's like they might try to take a dig at it. They might be like, yo, getting really curious about something that's really important or, you know, deep to us. But the one thing you said that really kind of like made me smile because you always said it, you're like, well, you know you look good. I know I look good, so I look good. Whatever. I don't got to be nothing about it. I look good.
Right.
And that brings me into my next point because as athletes, I feel like we got to have such strong skin and be so confident in ourselves, so confident in what we're doing, what we're walking around, especially on the field. Like, obviously, you got to be confident in that moment. But I think there's been a lot of athletes over the time that have shown that they can be confident regardless of what's being thrown at them, said to them, said behind their backs. We go in the locker room, on the field. And it brings me to my point where I want to go with DB first. What athletes can you pick that you think kind of exude or are going to show that confidence that, you know, whatever's going on, they got that confidence and people would realize, like, that's who they are?
My favorite athlete as a defensive back of all time and probably one of the best athletes of all time is Coach Deion Sanders.
Yes,
Coach
sir.
Prime Time. But, you know, I don't listen to, you know, everyone thinks how cocky he is, right? Everyone sees how cocky he is, but you guys, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, you guys don't, like, we all understand as an athlete all the work that he put into to him being this cocky, right? Like, he just didn't get this cocky just because he just laid around in practice and just started. He practiced hard every day. He did a game hard every day. So like all that stuff, I really looked at Deion as like an athlete who just, that confidence really became contagious. And you could tell like everyone who played with felt some type of prime time effect in their effect. And you can see how his cockiness and people think it's cockiness, but his confidence trans over to his team that he coaches. You can see how his team, every team that he coaches, how fired up they are, how motivated they are. You can just like, you understand that confidence he gives his teammates goes so much farther than anybody knows too. So I think prime time is my favorite one. And, you know, my favorite saying from him is like, if you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, you pay good. You know? So that's all this stuff. Like Deion, like his mindset. And I was just watching a video of him yesterday when he was in the league. And this is at the time when he was about to play both sports actually. And his contract told him that he had to really take football more serious than baseball. And this is when he was going to go to the Yankees. Right. So they was asking like, Deion, like, how are you taking both sports serious, right? Like, what is your confidence? Like, how do you feel about both sports? How do you feel about hitting a baseball, then transition or making an interception, catching a punt return, and then going for a 7-yard touchdown, right? And he's like, it's my ability. It's like, I know what my skills are. I know my ability and what I'm capable of. And his mindset is he can do it all, right? And there's nothing too small for him in his mindset. And I think that mindset transition over to how we coach and how we look at athletes and how we look at other mentors that we look at is just that mindset is just when you have someone like a leader like we talked about earlier that has that mindset that they can do anything, that is so contagious and it's so dangerous for an organization because once everybody's under that whole mindset, it keeps going and it's a trickle down effect. So.
Yeah, and like we talked about it earlier. Like so he's playing cornerback where you got to. Like you can give up a 30-yard bomb, but you got to line up the next play, and you got to stay locked in, and stay confident.
And he was playing press the whole game, the whole game. I'm just letting y'all know, this dude was unreal.
And then bro has to go play baseball and do one, in my opinion, the hardest thing to do in all sports. hit a baseball. I know you.
Go ahead.
And he has to like be confident in hitting a
absolutely,
baseball.
yeah. No, right.
So and there's this quote he has where he's like, he was in like some press conference. He's like, I had to create this guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he was like younger and he like not a lot of people believed in him. So he had to create prime.
Yeah, his
and
persona.
like that, if that's what you got to do to be confident, that's what you
Right.
got to do. And obviously, it's paid off for him
Right.
in many ways.
In many ways.
No, you're right.
Many ways. How about you, Chooch? What athletes did you looked at say you see the most sense of confidence around them?
Well, I'm gonna say three guys, three of my favorite athletes of all time. So first, we'll go to basketball with Kobe.
Of course.
Of course.
Kobe, he's
Show him the
my
tat.
idol,
That's why you have
man.
it tatted on you.
Show him
man.
the tat.
Yep, show him the tat. Mamba mentality, baby. And like there's different types of confidence, which is why I'm bringing up three different guys. The thing about Kobe that was amazing was that he worked so hard. He worked so hard that he knew when he stepped on that court, nobody around him worked as hard as him.
Right.
And how can you not be confident? Anybody that messes with him, anybody that tries to talk to
Yep.
him, he knows I put more work in than you do. You got nothing on me. So and that's that. Like I could talk about Kobe all day, but I'm not gonna get stuck on that.
Different animal. Yeah, he's different.
Second is my boy B Doc from the Eagles, man.
Weapon
Brian
X.
Dawkins, Weapon X. The most intense bull you will ever see, man. I loved watching him play, and the thing about him was that he just had that raw dog confidence. And the thing was, it kind of translated to me always to what I wanted to be in high school. I wanted to be that guy that's gonna come in and like people be scared of. But the thing was is that I couldn't create it day in and day out. He could create it every time he went onto that field, and that's what's so awesome. I've had an opportunity to like be able to kind of talk to Brian like DMing, and he's the nicest guy ever. So it's like, but once he steps on that field, flips that switch. And the last is kind of talking about how like look good, feel good, play good. It's the guy on the back of his jersey right now, the kid Ken Griffey Jr. That man, like you said earlier, walked to a beat of his own drum. He changed the culture of baseball.
Completely.
Sleeveless, backwards hat, hitting nukes, having fun while playing the game. You didn't see that before.
That's true.
And the fact that he was able to not only change the game for the better to where now guys are bat flipping and stuff.
Right.
That stuff didn't fly back in the day.
Not at all.
It was a bunch of alcoholics going and fighting each other if someone got hit.
Trendsetters.
But for real, like also, first of all, like, thank you to the kid if you ever see this for changing the
facts.
game of baseball.
Facts,
But
bro.
like watching those different guys and the different types of confidence they have, it just shows how unique you can be in your own way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Adam, what you think?
And I have two. There's obviously a bunch I could have pulled from, but one is definitely Usain Bolt. I think Usain Bolt has a confidence that a lot of people called showy, boisterous, cocky, all that other stuff. But in reality, dude was the fastest man ever, and his records are never going to be beaten. So like,
Right.
if I know I'm the fastest man ever, why would I think otherwise?
you're right.
Why would I act any differently? You know what I'm saying? Like his records, I really don't think are going to be broken. If they are, now probably not in our lifetime, honestly. But in reality, like man, he did the poses. Everybody knows what pose I'm talking about. The whole pose
Yep.
after and before events, before meets. And I was watching a couple of videos of him on him, and a reporter was asking a bunch of questions about who he's going up against. I think it was like Johan Blake. I think it was like Justin Gatlin, Tyson Gay, a couple other guys. Like during like 2008, 2012, when like he really was on top of the world. And everybody kept trying to dethrone him when they couldn't. And he's giving them their props and stuff like that. But seeing how calm he was under pressure, even before the meet, he was so loose, making jokes, doing all messing with the camera, stuff like that. I'm like, yo, that's just confidence right there. Where like you're not stressed, you're not overthinking, you're just relying on what you've done to get you to that point. And he was like, the lady was like, so what do you think you're gonna do like when the big meet comes up? And he goes, I'm always confident. I'm good, and just walks off.
That's true.
And that's all you got to say. At that point, that's all you got to say, because for somebody that has been so dominant, somebody that's been so graceful while he does it, I mean, once you are a competitor on him, you're like, man, I probably don't got a shot. The competitor in you's gonna be like, I'm gonna really race this race, but he knew, looking to his left and right, like it's not really a question. And I think he was definitely a guy that I've always looked at, especially for just how he did and everything in the Olympics. And then the other one might be the greatest trash talker of all time, arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time, Muhammad Ali. I think Muhammad Ali toes that line of cocky, arrogance, and confident. And I think if anybody's ever seen anything on Muhammad Ali, they know exactly what I'm talking about. He has probably 300 different sayings and quotes and rhymes that would make you want to punch him. And the wildest part is you couldn't punch him because he probably dip it and
dip it
jab you
real
back.
quick.
Well, got clips to that too.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
you know, and I think Floyd Mayweather was another one that can jump into that conversation. But for boxing, Muhammad Ali, I mean, I think he is the definition of being confident in your abilities, being confident in the work you put in, and being confident in what the product's going to be. So I know he has a bunch of quotes and stuff like that. It's very, very, very long, but it was basically more so like giving yourself daily affirmations and turning that daily affirmation into beliefs. And once that beliefs turns into once you kind of turn that belief into like actual physical product, then everything starts to kind of work out. And I think that he's been, you know, kind of idolized over the years for how much work he's put in, as well as how he's been able to back it up. And I think the funny part about confidence that people don't want to realize is that people have self-confidence. It all starts from truth. Right. It starts from like inner truths. Like, I know that like I could run really fast because I worked really hard and I was just faster than a lot of people. So I think the same thing happens for a lot of athletes where they know they've put in so much work, time and effort and dedication into a sport, into a certain play, into a certain act, that I know once the big stage comes, the big moment comes, I'm not going to fail because I've done it 1,000 times before. So I think those two guys, all the athletes we named, are definitely guys that show that confidence and has been able to rub off on other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think one thing that I kind of saw within the athletes that you mentioned, and a lot of the athletes that we mentioned, like times through their days of playing, is the fact that it's you versus you first.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You have to individualize it to that.
Right.
Like when Prime's out there, he's by himself. Right. He's playing press coverage. Right. Muhammad Ali, he's in there by himself. Like, I know Usain Bolt, he's racing against other guys, but no one has control of how fast he runs.
Right.
That's only against him. And that's why the mind plays such an important role in all of sports, is if you can get your mind right and you have confidence in yourself, that's the first step. You're halfway there.
Right.
Now you just got to like execute. Yeah. And that's it.
Exactly.
And I think all the guys we named too, they're all self-motivators.
Yeah.
They're literally all self-motivators. You can tell their work ethic. If we all went back in time to see when they was in their prime, their work ethic, they're all self-motivated. Right. There was nobody there pushing them to go any harder, pushing them to do extra reps. Right. It was them.
They were doing
like you just said, it was you versus you. And that's what happened. You could tell. And all the success in their careers became because of that, because they always self-motivated.
Absolutely.
Right. And that definitely rubs people the wrong way. That's why they get that cocky rep.
Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this. Bring up cocky. What do you think is the difference, or like the fine line between confidence and cockiness?
I mean, it's definitely. I hate when I hear reporters or people, even people like our friends, call us cocky or something like that. I'm like, that's just your insecurities, like being on you. Like, don't try to put that on me. Just because I'm very confident in myself and I'm so sure of myself and my capabilities, don't put that on me. But like I said, there's definitely obviously a line that a lot of athletes cross, and it's like funny to see that ones that think they're being confident is like, no, you're really just like, like you're just cocky. Like, but I think in reality, like with that, I think it's because like some people don't have confidence or reassurance in their own abilities, right? That they try to bring you down because they're like, I'm not able to achieve that, or I'm not able to, grasp that or obtain to that certain level that there's no way they can do it. But in reality, that's just why there is a difference between confidence, arrogant, and cocky, because I am able to do that, what you can't do. And I think it's, a shame that people try to put that on other people, and they try to, like bring somebody down to try to label them cocky, which is definitely a negative connotation to that. Right. But in reality, like I said, to the athlete, to the person, whoever it is, there's a self-assurance in themselves. And I think some people that aren't that confident in reality don't have the self-assurance to them. And we talked about it earlier. A lot of us have gone through different parts of life where we didn't have that assurance. We weren't that motivated internally. But don't try to put that on somebody else just because it's not what you have. So I think that's usually why the line kind of gets like, a little teetered, because some people really can't. Some people never been in their shoes, or never been in the athlete's shoes, or been in somebody's shoes of success and power, that it may seem like it all comes easy to them, and it seems like, oh, they're just rolling around in money and fame and joy. But in reality, you don't see the extra hours and the dark days that come with it. So I think that's really why people kind of get that a little, intertwined and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, and I think like cockiness sometimes, especially like when you look at athletes, cockiness is also sometimes a self-motivator for these athletes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you look at, for example, like since we're big Bird fans, like AJ Brown, right? We always see him on the sideline throwing we say we're throwing, he's throwing hissy fits. He's not.
Right.
But this is you guys don't understand the passion and emotion that he puts into this, and how much he loves this game. So that's where everyone thinks he's all cockiness and he's some type of bad teammate. But you guys don't understand that it's more emotional that he puts in. This was his way out, right? People don't realize this is how AJ Brown fed his family, right? So he has to understand this is how he gets paid. So this is why he's so cocky, because he's put in all the work that Adam talked about, that he's been putting all the work for since he's a young boy to now. And you can see now, now he's all this stuff is paying forward to him now because of the work he put in the past too. So I think that cockiness is sometimes a self-motivator, especially for athletes in general, because sometimes you need that cockiness to keep you going, because we all have times and moments in our life, but in athlete's life, I think we all have times and moments that we felt like we wasn't the person, we wasn't man, we couldn't do the ability best of our job. That's what we realized, and that's when sometimes people just have to get that cockiness to really have their own ego and put their own ego in perspective and be man, Adam said earlier, I was here for a reason. I've been in this place for a reason, right? So that's why then people start showing off their cockiness, because people especially the athletes, they start realizing they're here for a reason, right? And they're here to get paid. So that's why I think that's seriously though, they're here to make their money. So they gotta understand that too.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, there's positive and negative cockiness, I think. But there's negative cockiness to where people are just okay, you're talking about yourself a lot. Can you shut up? But and there's the positive confidence, the swagger that you need to have on the field sometimes. Yeah. But I think the biggest difference between that negative cockiness and the confidence that most people can exude is when you're confident, you have internal validation. Yeah. You know who you are. You have that, you know your values. You have that confidence in yourself. I feel like those cocky people, they need validation from external factors, from others. You know what I mean?
I like that.
And the thing is, when they don't get it, I feel like sometimes they need to talk about themselves in ways to make them feel above you. So it's not as much trying to bring other people down. It's trying to push yourself above others verbally or in your own idea. So I mean, there is a fine line between the two, but I don't think being cocky is necessarily bad. I think it's just the type of cocky that you exude. If you know who you are and you know your worth regardless, then there's no problem. You know?
No, I definitely agree with that. And personal story, because freshman year of high school, when I came with a Penn Charter, I went to Penn Charter for baseball. Obviously, I could play basketball. I loved basketball, but I really was there for baseball and obviously education. Right. And I remember basketball tryouts were coming in, and obviously it's during the time of me and swimming, so I'm really in a battle here. But in reality, y'all knew I could hoop. I love basketball. And I remember we were in the lunch line. I'm not gonna name no names. I'm actually good friends with him now, but he was like, "Yo, you gonna make freshman team this year?" And I was like, "What?" I looked at him sideways, and I was like, I said, "No." I said, "I'm not. So I'm probably gonna make varsity." And he was like, "Seriously?" I was like, "No, I'm being dead serious. I'm really good at basketball. I'm probably gonna make the varsity team. If not, I'll make the JV team. But now I won't make the freshman team." He looked at me crazy, and I knew personally, I knew how good I was at basketball, and I knew how much work I put in. And I said, I loved ball. I just who I was. Went out there, only freshman to make the JV team was the backup point guard, Demeach. So other than that, I knew how good I was. I put the work in, and I proved it. Same with baseball. Baseball came around. Nobody knew how good I was at baseball. I knew how good I came there for baseball, so obviously I couldn't be trash. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I remember we were doing winter workouts, stuff like that. Everybody's talking. They're like, oh yeah, Adam, we could see you being a pinch runner, or just getting in sometime, or just starting on JV. And in my head, I'm like, I came here to play varsity baseball. Right. That was my main goal. That's what I trained for. That's why I made the transfer from New Jersey to Philadelphia to play a sport. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be a guy. I'm going to play. Boom. And got the practice and tryouts, and upperclassman was like, yeah, man, sit this one out. This is just for the varsity guys. And I didn't move. I didn't budge. I didn't give him up my spot in the line, and it became a little issue. And I was like, you're just not going to talk to me any kind of way. I'm here for a reason. I'm here trying just like you. You haven't proved nothing. I haven't proved nothing. So let's show it right now. Ended up winning the starting job. Started every single game my freshman year. And like I said, a lot of people would say oh, Adam was kind of cocky. No, I just knew how good I was, and I knew my purpose once I got to the school.
Right.
So like, you're not going to take me off my purpose, take me off my guide or my path. Like, I know what I'm here for, so I'm locked in. So I definitely feel that when people kind of are like, not trying to kind of elevate yourself.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't talk about myself. Always let my play do the talking, and it did. So
Right. And then now that people think, because you led a good point about purpose, and I was wondering now, do you think also, like, how do confidence and purpose coexist?
you go.
You want? I'll go. I mean, I think you need to find that purpose first, and that purpose needs to be yours and your own. I think it should have to do with your passions. Sometimes we don't find it at first. Sometimes we have to find it down the road. But if you find that purpose and you find something you're really passionate about in this life, don't let go of it. And you need to be confident in that purpose.
Yeah.
You need to be confident in understanding that this is what I want out of my life.
Right.
And it's not going to happen overnight. It may not happen in a week, a month, a year, maybe some years, but that confidence needs to be there if you truly want it. Because if you're not confident in this thing that you're most passionate about, how do you expect to push yourself to get there?
Yeah.
And that's just where I feel on it, is the fact that, like, for me, personal example, I've always felt that that's my purpose. I've never been able to go more than a week without picking up a baseball. like just always, it's just consumed my life.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I wasn't confident in it. And the fact that I am now, you just look at it from two different perspectives, and you understand that the one perspective is way better. It is. And just like everything else in life, the confidence isn't going to be handed to you. It's not going to come on a silver platter. It's going to come with work.
Yeah.
But when you're able to work at your purpose and work at the confidence as well, and they align together, it makes something special.
Right.
No, definitely, bro. And that's a great point, because Michelle Obama, she had a quote, and it was like, your success will be determined by your confidence and your fortitude. And fortitude deals with strength of the mind. And I think that confidence and, like you said, purpose, coexist, they have to coexist, that you have to have a strong mental, obviously, to either one, find your purpose as well as find confidence. So, I mean, if you don't have that, it's kind of hard to get going in terms of, finding your purpose, obviously, and as well as maintaining that confidence while you're doing your purpose. Sure. So I think that for a lot of young people, they need to look at, even people that are still in a rut, regardless of what age you are, maybe they might not have found their purpose. Maybe they may not have found what their passion was, what their drive is, find that confidence to kind of continue to keep doing his life over and over, or keep doing that job over and over, whatever it is. But you have to, one, obviously have that desire and that passion for yourself in your heart and in your mind. And I think once you develop that, it's going to be a lot easier to either maintain that confidence as well as have that purpose.
I think you guys all said it perfectly right. And I think, I have no more words. I have no more words to even say it. But I just want to add Jalen Hurts quote, because I think that all resonated with all of us. Last year, Jalen Hurts called. Said I had a purpose before everybody had an opinion, right? So and it's and he also said it's not about anybody else, right?
Right.
So when he said that was really powerful for me, just because of his purpose in the world was to play football, as hence yours was to play basketball. His was to play football. His was to be a quarterback. And his was to lead his team to a Super Bowl. That's his purpose. That's his mindset that he had from day one. So just him and I really do like Jalen more as a leader as he keeps growing up and he keeps evolving. His leadership and his mindset is really just spectacular. And just for him to have that mindset as a quarterback is unbelievable. So that's something I think, for us, when we think about it, not as of not playing football, but for people who are just worrying about what their purpose is figure out what your purpose is, right? Everyone has a purpose in the world. You got to really figure out what their purpose is. And it might not be what you think it is initially, but it's time for you to figure it out. So take time out today to just figure out what your purpose is.
I think that's great, because to all of our points, like I said, I think we got so caught up now that we're kind of removed from the game a little bit, not chooch, hopefully not for a long time, but me and DB definitely moved from the game a little bit, but we got so caught up in sports being our purpose, right? I remember writing a paper when I was at Delaware State, and they were talking about identity, and I was for so long my identity was a baseball player, basketball player, stuff like that. And I'm that's really not my purpose. Like, granted, yours in particular, you use baseball, right, to help, I would say help cultivate, help kind of influence your purpose, but you may not even know what your purpose is right now. Maybe your purpose truly is just to be a great voice, a great friend, a great human being, a great brother, a great friend. Obviously somebody that can use baseball, obviously, use your experiences in baseball.
As like a platform.
As a platform.
Yes.
But in baseball may not actually be your purpose, right?
Absolutely.
It may be your number one token or weapon, right?
I'm so glad you brought that up too, because like there have been times where I've questioned, is baseball like my overall purpose? Is this what I'm set out to do? Now, granted, like you said, there are things that can stem off of it.
Right.
I know that I'm always going to be in the game. Whenever I'm done this game, I'm going to be coaching. Maybe I'll be like a pitching coach down the line. Maybe I'll be a head coach. I don't know. I don't know what that. I'm not worried about that yet.
Yeah.
But the thing is that baseball is always going to be there. So I understand that that's part of my purpose.
Right.
Now, what can I build off of that? What can I stem off of that? We can do this, like using this as a platform. I know a lot of Red Sox fans. Thank you guys. Watch this podcast. I appreciate you. And like that's the thing is. The biggest I kind of overall theme that I understand that I want for my life is just to be able to help others. I love helping others. And I think baseball is that purpose that's going to get me to a place where I can do that the most.
Right.
And that's why I like thinking of it like that. It's like one stem, but or one tree branch coming off of a full tree in the ground. You
That's
know?
a great point. It sounded like that Sirianni quote when he was talking about the flower. Then it was like first press conference. Nick Sirianni, when he had the first press conference.
Yeah, the flower.
And it was the flower interpretation. Everyone was like, what are you talking about? But that was really a good point when you said one stem. Obviously, a bunch of different leaves and branches. So I definitely see what you mean by that. So
I promise I didn't steal that. That's good stuff. Well, hey, so asking you guys, has there been anybody in your lives that have kind of exuded confidence in you or kind of helped change your confidence? I know you kind of talked about your dad, but how about you?
Like I said, definitely have to probably my parents and my brother. They've definitely always been the people that have made me believe even when I had no belief. They made me, really kind of get down and really bunker down and get sturdy in myself and my values before I even had anything to stand on. So they've kind of been the people that have definitely helped me develop that confidence, develop that sense of self. And I feel as though hopefully everybody out there has people that they can lean on, whether it is, somebody of a close friend, close family member, somebody, a stranger, whoever it is. But I think that my parents and my brother have definitely been my strongest roots of confidence that have been able to empower me, instill in me, a good heart, a good spirit, and I'm forever grateful for them.
Absolutely. And with that, we thank you guys for tuning in. I think we're going to turn it over to DB for the word of the day.
The word of the day today for all of us, as you know, the theme is confidence, and I want all of us and as individuals, us as the audience, to really think about what really inspires you, what really motivates you, and what is your purpose here. So make sure you have that confidence to keep going and to better yourself each and every day. Have that mindset that you will be better each day. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I will be great today. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a blessed day.
Oh,
That was good.
That was
good. That was
He
good.
practiced that in the mirror. I know he practiced that.
I'm locked, boy. I'm locked today. I'm locked.
And also, guys, we have a special guest coming next episode, so stay tuned.
Sneak
Catch you
peek.
next time.
Nah, I thought he cut it when he walked out.